Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Varsity Link Coaches Corner here on the Shore Sports Network. We are broadcasting live tonight from MJ's Restaurant, Bar, and Tavern in Neptune, Route 66, and good to be here. And our feature tonight, we will be talking Marlboro Mustang football. What a year it's been for the Mustangs. We'll talk with them, their coach, a couple of their outstanding seniors. We'll do all that in a little bit. But as I say, good evening. I'm joined by my normal colleagues, Bob Batters and Ed Sarluca on the end. I'm Kevin Williams, and we thank you for joining us here for this edition of the Varsity Link Coaches Corner. You know, we sit here in early November. It feels like late September, and we have teams that are actually done for the season already, which is just wild with this new playoff structure. But we also have 13 teams left who are battling for state sectional championships and maybe beyond that. 12 of them will play this weekend. Red Bank Catholic, who is the top seed in parochial B, yes, will not start until the following week. So, and when we get together again next week, that number will be reduced. Mm-hmm. And most of these teams, as they lose in the playoffs, that will be it for their season. They'll just, there's still a couple of teams playing on Thanksgiving Day, but not much of that anymore. But we talk Marlboro Mustangs in a little bit, but let's just diverse for a second and go back to last weekend. I think the upset of the weekend was Long Branch,
for sure,
beating Pennsauken, who we honored this week as our Jersey Mike's Team of the Week for that tremendous upset. But there were other games of note.
There were some good ones, and for the most part, the seeds held true. Long Branch, as you mentioned, the upset of the weekend, certainly in the Shore, and definitely one of the bigger ones around the state. They go on the road. Pennsauken was undefeated, number 2 seed in that bracket, had won all their games by about 4 touchdowns per game, so winning convincingly, but they hadn't played as challenging of a schedule really as Long Branch. You look at Long Branch play in Middletown South. And some other quality teams in there. So they go on the road, played a great defensive game, held player Khalil Ali, committed to Boston College, standout wide receiver, running back, kind of does a little bit of everything for Pennsauken. He had about 16 yards on 5 touches. They did a great job. They had 5 total turnovers forced, 3 interceptions. Akil Gaines, 2 of those picks. And they just made big play after big play on the defensive side and ended up winning 13-6 in overtime. So big one for the Green Wave, and they got another challenge on the road against Mainland. But that's a really nice win for a Long Branch team that was 1-3 and kind of forgotten about, and that was won 4 straight to get to the semis.
Yeah, the other game, of course, when we talk major upsets on the other side of the fence, though, was Ocean getting beat. Mm-hmm. Of course, you've got to mention their outstanding quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks in the Shore, getting hurt during the week. And was a no-go, in that football game. Even though Ocean took the ball right down and drove it and scored to go up 7-0, but then who's the team?
Burlington Township.
Burlington Township went on and scored 30-something points.
Yeah.
The final was
34-7, right?
Yeah, no contest. Yeah, I feel sorry for Ocean. I feel sorry for Donnie Klein. I feel sorry for Douglas.
Yeah, and that's their senior quarterback, Tyler Douglas, missed that game with an injury. Ocean had a bunch of other injuries, and that's how quickly that can derail your season potentially. Ocean was 8-0 and bounced in the first round, but a great season for the Spartans.
Yeah.
Freedom Division champions, and certainly played really well under Donnie Klein. A tight game that I was at Friday night was Jackson Memorial winning over Manalapan 10-7. Talk about a defensive game. Jackson's lone touchdown came on an interception return for a touchdown, 77 yards to the house by Ethan Kalinowskis, their junior linebacker. Jackson's defense played a really, really good game. Manalapan's defense actually played better. Jackson had under 100 yards of offense, but it was that defensive touchdown and then a field goal at the end of the first half that was the difference. So Jackson Manalapan, a little bit of a rivalry there. Those two teams have been in the same division a number of years, and they always seem to play some close games. And that was, again, the case. And now the Jags go on the road, a tough one at Millville.
Yeah, that's tough. How about Manalapan? Their losses this year. They're going to finish 3-7. they could have easily been 7-3.
It's the best. If there's a better 3-17 in New Jersey, I want to see it because it's pretty good. Manalapan's a quality team. Their losses in that American division. They went winless in there. We're talking Red Bank Catholic, Middletown South, Donovan, Rumson, Wall. A really good Marlboro team, obviously that we're going to talk to today. So, and then Jackson now. So yeah, that's a tough season for Manalapan. But when you play that kind of schedule, that can happen.
Yeah. It's interesting. We only have one all-shore game this weekend, and, of course, that will be Marlboro against Toms River North Friday night. And, we'll save the conversation for that until we get Jason up here. But we have a potential of all-shore games in the next round.
We do.
We have several of those. And I kind of like those games. You could have, and again, you could have Rumson-Raritan.
Yes.
That would be a lot of fun. You could have Asbury Park Shore, although that would be very difficult. Shore plays a really good Woodbury team. Again, you mentioned Long Branch. You could have Long Branch Middletown South,
which would be a rematch.
Which would be a rematch. That's right. So you have that potential of those games, and I think the one that would probably be the most likely scenario would be Rumson-Raritan, right? Wouldn't you agree? Of those,
yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Especially if the seas hold. You look at. Raritan was the top seed last season, going in and made the finals. Lost to a really good Haddonfield team that went on to beat Point Borough in the regional championship game. But yeah, Rumson-Raritan right there as the top two seeds. And Rumson, it's intriguing for Rumson because we're used to them being
the top dog
in this situation and ready to contend for another sectional championship. And they are this year, but it's been much different. They were 4-4 going into the playoffs, won convincingly over Monmouth Regional. And now they have Oakcrest and potentially Raritan. So it's funny how it could go from Rumson, kind of a down year by their standards, to they could be holding a championship trophy in a couple weeks, and we wouldn't be surprised, and they would still have the goal that they set out to accomplish. So I think that's a testament to what that program is and what they believe in. That they stay the course and they're right where they want to be.
Yeah, very impressive, the Raritan program. I am,
yes.
At least. Because they're way up there in Monmouth County. You don't get a chance to see them a whole lot. Mm-hmm. They make the run in the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season. Last year it took them all the way to the championship, and they're doing the same thing this year. Crazy.
That's the Rockets. And the one year that they won it, and the exact year escapes my mind, but when they went to the finals and stunned Lincoln, which was the top seed and a top 20 team and out of Jersey City, and really a juggernaut team. And, they get hot at the right time, and they play tough, and they just find a way under their head coach, Anthony Petruzzi, and this is that kind of Raritan team. I mean, they're only 2 losses are to Ocean and Point Borough, teams ranked ahead of them, and those 2 teams are combined 17-1 right now. So Raritan's played well,
and probably the most significant accomplishment for Raritan is they're in the final 3 of having the best football concession stand.
That they are
in the Shore Conference. We've been on Shore Sports Network for the past few weeks having a little fun with who has the best concession stand, and we started with 42 potential. Then we got down to 10, and now we're down to 3, and it's Raritan, Manalapan, and Central battling it out for the best football concession stand in the Shore Conference and a $250 Jersey Mike's gift card to do with it as they please.
That's you got to get out there and vote because it's pretty cool because we used to always kind of judge the snack stands. I haven't frequented them as much in years, but our old friend Scott Stump, we always used to joke about Keensburg, Titan Cafe with the pork roll sandwiches. I mean, who has that there? And it was a pretty cool idea. So get out there and vote, support your school, and we'll see which concession stand comes out on top.
Yeah, that's on shoresportsnetwork.com, of course.
Thanks, Kevin, for giving me that assignment to go around to those 3 schools.
He's the taste tester, quality control.
They're going to open a couple of them, even if they're not playing a game. They're going to open them and give me a taste of everything.
I have a little bit of
Central. You're going to weigh it to Central.
No, hey, Steve Meyer's the one that gets the results and tells me.
Raritan's out front, Steve. Okay.
It's like the early voting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Early voting.
It is.
After 27 votes, I will tell you, I have a fondness for Central, not just because it's my alma mater, Ed, but if you remember when we did games there, Tommy Parlapanides, the superintendent, would come up in the press box and say, "What would you like to order?"
Look at that.
And then he'd come back and he'd bring it himself. Like I felt the superintendent's serving us.
We don't get that anymore.
No, well, no. Hey, you got
persona non grata.
I was watching you with the bar pie over there. You did pretty good.
Yeah,
you did pretty good.
By the way, Kev, we got to mention the weather. In November here. I went to the beach today. Is that wrong?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I mean, just the whole week has been beautiful so far, and it's going to continue Thursday and Friday and Saturday when these kids play.
Sunday they're talking 74
I know,
degrees.
It's crazy.
Wild.
It's crazy. I don't know if we're going to pay in December, but
the cold weather will come for us. At least one game a year.
We're going to wake up one day and it's just going to be cold. But how about this? They have the New York City Marathon on Sunday.
This week, and they're worried.
This is the worst possible weather to run in. It's just they said it's okay for the real good runners because they get off early in the morning when it's still cool. But the schleppers are running in the heat of day, man. That's going to be really rough. I'm sure a few people are going to go down on Sunday. That's for sure. All right, so just a real quick, because we always glance at this when we do the show, the most recent Jeep Store Top 10. And really, 1 through 7, no changes. Red Bank Catholic, Toms River North, Middletown South, Point Borough, Donovan Catholic, Ocean, and Raritan. They still stay in those 1 through 7 spots. Jackson goes from 9 to 8. Marlboro goes from 10 to 9. And Rumson goes from not ranked to number 10. St. John Vianney drops out after losing. Long Branch, Asbury Park, and Shore are teams to watch out for, maybe. And, of course, Top 10 Tuesday is always brought to you by the Jeep Store in Ocean Township. Check out thejeepstore.com. We appreciate their support all football season long. And I think what we'll do, guys, right now, some people have showed up from the Mustang contingent. We'll take a little break, and when we come back, we'll bring the head coach of the Mustangs up here, Jason Delgado. We'll do that right after this. You are watching the Varsity Link Coach's Corner on the Shore Sports Network. And a very good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Varsity Link Coach's Corner here on the Shore Sports Network, shoresportsnetwork.com. Happy to do this every Wednesday through the football season. We appreciate the support of Varsity Link. And as I say every week, if you are a high school athlete, even an intermediate school athlete, but really a high school athlete, any sport, you should download the Varsity Link app on your smartphone. Of course, the app is free. And it's a way to socially engage with other athletes, but you can also put information about yourself up there, your 40-yard time, things like that, height and weight. So when maybe people start looking at you for the potential to go to the next level, it's real easy. That's Varsity Link, varsitylink.com, but you can just download the app anywhere you would find an app. And don't ask me to tell you where because I have my daughter download my apps.
Technologically challenged?
Oh, man, terrible. So welcome back, and we're really excited to feature Marlboro tonight because I laughed when we were talking to Jason before we came on that Bob and I have probably used the word resilient 100 times this year, and Ed said, and we'll use them more tonight. But this is a program that just has clinched its second straight winning season, which is indeed an accomplishment, and as I welcome in Jason Delgado in his 10th year as the head coach. Coach, you had some really challenging seasons early in your career, and I just wonder how you persevered through that to believe that there were better things on the other side, which have come the last 2 years?
Yeah. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. It was definitely difficult, and but I knew that going in. I knew you're talking about a place that was starved for success, but I also know myself, and I was either gonna die or I was gonna make it happen. There was no way I was ever gonna quit. And
Still here.
Yeah, I'm still here. I can't do that to myself. Once I take something on, I'm gonna see it through to the end. So every year you just regroup. Try to find positives and build off those. A lot of it came down to, mixing and matching parts, finding, the right kind of coaches. And, look, at the end of the day, it was a huge challenge for myself. And you really want guys that want to coach these kids that understand, that it is a challenge and want to embrace that challenge. And every place has its own challenges, but this was a place that was starved for success. And, you want guys that want to come in and want to be a part of something like that, want to take a place that historically has not had that success, and they really want to grind and grind and grind with you, and they understand that it's not always going to be great, but the outcome is what you're looking for. And, I'm blessed to have a staff of guys like that really buy into that whole thing.
Coach, when kids persevere, don't you feel good for the kids that have stayed with you for the 4 years in the program, 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of funny you say that, because I have, families even in here that have been here for, 10 years, 8 years, 9 years, that, brothers that have gone through the program and families that have just been a part of it. So it's real good to see the look on these kids' faces now that, they're being recognized as one of the best teams around. They're in everybody's top tens, and they've got a lot of notoriety in the press and stuff like that. So, it's good to see, the fruits of their labor and see how they feel about it, and you get enjoyment out of that, absolutely.
Well, you guys are here tonight because you're still playing. And you're still playing because of that amazing win over Washington Township on Saturday afternoon. 21-17, you guys came from behind after trailing by 10 at halftime. You did it after losing your starting running back, Matt Cassidy, the injury. Just more adversity for you guys to face this season. But, first playoff appearance since 99, first home game in the playoffs since 94, and you go out and you win on your home field for the first playoff win in almost 30 years. So what was that moment like? While it's happy, but then afterwards kind of being able to realize what you guys were able to accomplish and enjoy it?
It's actually funny that you say that. Matt Cassidy asked me after the Manalapan game, he's like, was this the biggest win of your career? First time you beat Manalapan since 94. And I was like, yeah, actually it is. And then, I looked at him after Washington Township. I was like, Matt, that only lasted 2 weeks, man. This is definitely the biggest win. What I felt with that one was just, first of all, amazing come from behind win. Again, these kids just keep fighting. They never stop. And then on top of that, just kind of like this feeling of we're here, man. We just want a playoff game. We're for real. And kind of that feeling of Marlboro is a real football program now. Not only did we announce our presence to the Shore, we went out and won a state playoff game. And that's just something that everybody should really feel good about. Okay,
it's about time then we go out and get lights for that field.
I would absolutely love that.
What do you think?
I would love that.
Hey, I knew that would get around, of course. But anyway, let's talk a little bit again as Bob to follow up on that. I told you before the show, I've coached a lot of football games on the defensive side. I have never, ever had a team that had 5 picks in a game. Let's go through those.
Yeah, so it's funny. We talked about that after the game as coaches, and the first 2 picks were just, our kids making great plays. 2 kids reading the routes, having honestly been prepared real well in practice, knowing what was coming, jumped the route, bam, great job. One by Nick Scaff, one by Jake Houston, who's here tonight, both of them. And then the other ones were kind of just a product of, number 1, great downfield coverage. Number 2, making the kid run around a little bit, getting in the backfield and causing some pressure and, really causing them to throw up some errant throws that our kids were able to get under and take them.
I should have asked you this first, and I didn't. But, for those that don't know, you've been at Marlboro 10 years. How did you arrive there? In other words, what's your background that you ended up at Marlboro as the head coach a decade ago?
Yeah, so first teaching job out of college was at Marlboro High School, and I really coaching was my deal. I did this whole thing. I wanted to be a teacher, wanted to be a coach, and so that was day one. I was an assistant under Derek Sininsky for the first couple years. and really just going back to my childhood, I've always been that guy that, like, I really wanted to go to a place and kind of blaze my own trail. I didn't want to go somewhere that had been previously successful and, do that whole thing. And that's got its own challenges. I wanted to go to a place that really had been starved for success and blaze my own path. 4 years there as an assistant, and then applied for the job and got it.
Young.
Yeah, I was 28 years old when I got it.
Were you ready for it, or did it take you a little time to really kind of realize that it was a
Are you asking me that question as a 38-year-old or how I felt when I was 28? That's two different answers. At 28, I felt I was ready. Looking back on it now, truthfully, no, I probably wasn't ready in terms of, really understanding everything about it and what it was going to take and the things you were going to run into. But I don't know if you're ever truly ready until you dive in and do it. But yeah, looking back on it as a 28-year-old versus what I know and I understand and how to deal with certain things, it probably was not the best deal for me, but I felt ready at the time.
Were you married at 28?
I was married at 28.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, no kids yet.
No kids yet,
but I was
yeah.
married.
And again, I just go because I know you had so many seasons that were rough. You come home, the season ends, you come home after another rough season. You vent to your wife a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
And that's part of the deal. I'm sure everybody does, but she dealt with it and she always believed in me, and that's part of what keeps you going too.
Great.
The more you look at this victory, tell me the first words when the trainer came up to you and said, Cassidy's gone for the day. What do you think then?
Yeah, so, it's been all year long. So
Yeah.
I literally just said into the headset to Coach Caporelli, who's on the other end, and I said, hey, we've been dealing with this all year. It's what we're paid to do. Got to keep moving forward, find a way to win, And every week we joke, another roll of duct tape, some more bubble gum, let's figure it out, And that's just what we got to keep doing.
And that's part of, Matt getting injured, especially the first drive. You guys go 80 yards right down the field. They can't stop him. He's in the end zone. And then later in the quarter, he gets hurt. And it's, like you said, that was your guys' approach. Obviously, it helps you win the game to have that approach. But at least hard not to feel the wind come out of the sails a little bit. But you guys just found a way to win. Me being there and covering it, what I noticed more than anything was how much depth you guys have, how many good players you have. Matt obviously is in the headlines and the recaps every, week with how he's played. And A.J. Schwartz, your outstanding quarterback, who was hurt in week 4, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing. And that's the nature of high school football. You hear about the playmakers. But I think being there and seeing just how many good players you guys have, depth on both sides of the ball, you don't win that game if you don't have that. So just how about that? And maybe that perception, not a lot of people know. Like you said, hey, Marlboro's one of the best teams. But you have a lot of depth, and you're here because you really are a true team, and with how many quality athletes you have.
Yeah, it's funny. You tweeted that, and I tweeted I agree. And there is a lot of quality players on this football team. I mean, it's funny, too. AJ, right after he got hurt, and, everybody's upset, and I'm talking to him in the hospital and stuff, and he said, there's a lot of great players on this team. They'll be okay, and he's right. You have guys like Jake Houston, Alex Frank, and Nick Scaff, and all these guys who stepped up. Corey Shannon, he's a great football player. Lucas McAvoy is going to be on tonight. I mean, you saw him at DN the other day. He does a fantastic job. He's a good tight end too. So there's just guys all over the place that make plays for us. And honestly, when the chips are down, they kind of start to shoulder the load themselves a little bit. I saw just a lot of things from different kids that game Saturday. Ryan Mendez stepping up, just being a more vocal leader. Getting involved and being positive and making huge plays for us. Matt Cassidy, even though he was down. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but he was right up in there with everybody. Hey, it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. Keep plugging. And, Anthony LaFonte over there at corner, like he made a huge pass breakup. I think that
forced
like a
the
third.
punt.
Yeah,
Forced
the punt. And there's just the guys like that just doing things all over the field. And the bottom line is that's what it's going to take to win. Sometimes when the chips are down, everybody has to really pick up the slack a little bit.
We're talking to Marlboro head coach Jason Delgado here on the Varsity Link Coaches Corner. He mentioned we will have a couple of their outstanding players, Ryan Mendez, Lucas McAvoy, on in just a few minutes. Coach, I mean, I got to ask you, we've done all this glowing stuff, and now your reward for beating Washington Township is an easy trip to Toms River on Friday night to play the North Mariners, who average about 400 points a game and ironically, have not even had a game that they've had to sweat since Washington Township in week 0.
August 25th.
So how are you going to beat them Friday?
Well, honestly, I told the kids day one, once we got this and we knew where we were going, I said, hey, it's a great opportunity. They weren't on our schedule, and, we earned the right to play what some people call the best public school in the state. So we're excited for that opportunity. I mean, everybody knows it's a fantastic football team. They're loaded from top to bottom. They've got great linemen. They've got great skill kids. Let's find out a little bit more about ourselves on Friday night. I mean, I'm excited for the opportunity, and that's how we look at it. If you want to go out there and compete with the best, you're looking at them. So let's go do it. I
know this week and Friday night is about now and these kids here, but just in terms of the whole program in general, how big are these moments to get to a point maybe you haven't either been to before, haven't been to in a long time, and start to make those things normal? Something, talking to you after the game, something that stood out to me was, you said you're reading about your team throughout the year, and there's a lot of adjectives described. It's a gritty Marlboro team. It's this, and you kind of want to get to a point where those adjectives don't need to be mentioned. It's just assumed about your program, the way we talk about Middletown South and Rumson, teams like that.
Yep.
These moments build towards that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember, I think it was like week 2, I was saying that to these guys. Every time we win a ball game, it almost feels like it's got to be justified, like a good Marlboro team. It can't just be Marlboro beat so-and-so, Mm-hmm. And I challenge them. Let's make them drop the adjectives, and that's really what it's about. Getting to the point where when you just say Marlboro, everyone just knows, Marlboro's good. They should be winning ball games. And, these are absolutely steps to there. Again, that's like a huge accomplishment to win a state playoff game. You get a home seed. That in and of itself is an accomplishment. That kind of legitimizes your program. Then you go out and win it, against a good South Jersey Group 5 team. That's just further, further establishing that we are a program now. And, we expect now next year as we get moving forward, and the year after that and the year after that, we just keep moving forward and just keep getting better.
Well, what a great attitude. You really have a positive attitude. Very, very impressive. And you're right. We sometimes, the word resilient, right? It's time to just say, Marlboro's a pretty good football team. They've won a playoff game, they're playing when a lot of teams are home already. So,
right.
And we're guilty of that, but we're guilty of a lot of things. So.
Coach, just real quick before you leave,
Absolutely.
But you mentioned A.J. Schwartz.
Mm-hmm.
You lost him early in the year. Just give us a little rundown of A.J. and what he's meant to this, 2022 team. Yeah,
so, I had a conversation with him actually before our playoff game, and I said, on top of your on-field contributions, which I firmly believe as far as his athletic abilities are concerned, you're talking about a kid who probably would have flirted with 1,000 rushing, 1,000 passing, 20 touchdowns combined type kid, maybe more. But what I told him was, what you've meant to this program stretches beyond those kinds of things. You were the guy that gave the confidence to the rest of the team that we can go out and do this. And I really started to see it throughout last year into summer 7-on-7s, where every time we took the field, we had this belief in ourselves that we're going to win. Not we should win, not we can win, that we're going to win. And we're going to do everything in our power to win and play well. And that really was what came out of him. He always had that confidence, that swagger. Everybody believes in him. And he just brought that infectious personality, huge smile, such fun to it all. And I think that rubbed off on the entire program, and that's something that'll last once he's gone as well.
That's outstanding. By the way, a little shout-out for your son. I heard he's a big Mustang fan, right?
Yes, he's probably the biggest Marlboro Mustang fan.
He's eating his French fries
what
now. You're not going to bother him.
He was right in there in the celebration, right in there.
Oh, yeah, he loves it. He comes running over. I mean, he kneels down with the team. I mean, he's a part of the team.
That's what it's all about, right?
These kids are great, man. They embrace them. I mean, he idolizes these guys. You know, he really does. These are when he grows up, he wants to be just like them.
I love it.
That's awesome. Well, I tell you what, it's a great story. And it's a great story from where you came from to where you are right now. And, a super, super congrats to you and your coaching staff for, again, being resilient.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's
you
fine.
know, I mean,
I agree.
a lot of guys after some of those seasons would have just said, you know what, I'm going to pack it in and go be an assistant somewhere. But you stuck with it. You enjoy all the fruits of victory that you've gotten these last 2 years, and we'll wish you well on Friday night and, shock the world.
That's it. Appreciate it, guys. Thank
Jason
you.
Delgado.
Great having you.
We'll be there Friday night.
We'll be there.
Looking
Yep.
forward to seeing you guys. Thank you.
Jason Delgado, head football coach at Marlboro High School. We'll bring it up Ryan and Lucas right after this. You're watching the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network.
Good evening and welcome back to MJ's Restaurant in Neptune. It's the Week 10 Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network, and we roll on with our featured coverage tonight, Marlboro Mustangs football. Marlboro in the semifinals of the South Jersey Group 5 tournament, coming off really an incredible playoff victory, their first one in almost 30 years. So we'll talk to two outstanding seniors, Ryan Mendez and Lucas McAvoy. First, remind you about Varsity Link, our presenting sponsor tonight and each and every night on the Varsity Link Coaches Corner. It's the Athlete Social Media Network. It's a great tool for high school athletes and even the middle school athletes to get out there, interact with coaches, teammates, even other opponents, and really just put your athletic information on there, a one-stop shop, if you will, for your recruiting purposes. So make sure you head to varsitylink.com to find out more, and wherever you download apps, go there, download the Varsity Link app. So here we are, Marlboro football in the semifinals of the state tournament, an amazing playoff victory. And we're delighted right now to be joined by two of their best and two guys who are really excellent on Saturday afternoon. It's Ryan Mendez and Lucas McAvoy. So, Ryan, first of all, thanks for coming down, bringing a great crowd with you. And I'll go back to Saturday because I was lucky enough to be there and see that. And just a tremendous victory. And we touched on the details, with Coach a little bit. We'll hit some more with you guys. But in the aftermath of that, immediately and then a couple hours when it sets in, so what was that like on your home field, winning the playoff game and doing it the way you guys did it?
I mean, it felt great. Like I said to you, I think, seeing the seniors last year leave that field, enjoy, even though it was a consolation game, and knowing that is my last home game on that field, it felt great to do it with all my best friends. It felt great.
And one of those seniors last year was your brother,
yeah.
Zach. So, and who's here tonight. And so you're familiar with that on a different kind of level. But just getting to a point last year where the team was clearly a lot better than it had been in a while. You get 5 wins, but you don't make the playoffs. How much did that leave kind of maybe not a sour taste in your mouth, but just an aura of you guys wanting more, wanting to go out this year and get to that next level?
Yeah, we definitely all thought last year we were a playoff team. We ended up beating a team in the playoffs, Mid-North. Mm-hmm. But we knew that this year was our time. We knew we had the guys returning. We obviously lost some studs last year, but it felt great to finally do it this year.
Lucas, little offense, little defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you like best?
I love my defense. Love my defensive line,
Oh, now I know why I like you. Okay, let's talk about that defensive end position. 2-point stance or down into 3?
3-point, definitely.
3-point,
yeah.
Okay. You love to turn it on when you see quarterback?
Yeah, I love it. I love to land on them, too.
Any sacks this year?
I got 2 this year.
Two sacks, okay. And there's nothing greater, right, than pick up a sack.
Great feeling.
Okay. What do you know about Toms River North, other than what you read in the paper or on our site?
rated the best team in the Shore, but I definitely think our team can compete with them. We have the guys, we have the stuff. We just do our job and we can get it done.
Lucas, I want to go back to Saturday. And you guys start off on fire right down the field. Matt's in the end zone. It's 7-0. And then you guys are really playing well. You're holding the lead. And all of a sudden he gets hurt, goes out of the game. They hit the long touchdown. And all of a sudden you're down 10 points at the half. What was that conversation like at halftime, knowing that you have to come out in the second half and just kind of find a way?
Well, Matt getting hurt, it was a big loss in the game. It was just like a lot of us were like, oh, it was kind of like a reality check because he's a great player and he just doesn't go down like that a lot. You know what I mean? So halftime we just had to rally together. We're brothers, so we just went out there after halftime. We did our thing. That was it.
And Ryan, the defense was incredible. I mean, you guys. I was joking with Coach after the game. I mean, you guys are the only defense who can give up a 99-yard touchdown run, but also play an incredible game because, you take that out, and they had, well under 100 yards in the game. You guys had 5 interceptions, really great stopping the run at the point of attack. So what was it about the way the whole defense played where you took, a good team and really gave them nothing, and that was really what spurred on the comeback in that second half?
I mean, I think that's a lot of our defensive coordinator, Reed Stapp. Like I said again, after the game, he put us in the right spot, in the right position to make the plays that we were able to make Saturday afternoon.
Lucas, let's talk a little bit about the school and the kids in the school. How have they bought into this team?
Well, over the years, Marlboro just school spirit hasn't been a big thing.
Plenty of seats in the stands.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Everybody's here now. It's awesome to see that everybody's getting together for the football games, though, because it helps a lot. It helps the players and everything. Just
you got a student section?
Yeah, definitely.
What do they call themselves?
It's the Stang Gang. Shout out Stang
Gang. There you go. Shout out to them.
Yep.
They're a big part.
It was a good crowd on Saturday.
Yeah,
What was that like? First home playoff game for the program since '94. You guys get the win. What was it like doing that on your home field? Fans, everything that went into it.
It's incredible. It's just awesome because you walk into school after that, and it's just like everybody's congratulating you and stuff. It's awesome, and just the kids around you, they all know you're doing good in the football team. So it's a good feeling.
That game had so many layers. I feel like we could do a whole hour just on that game, but we'll try to stick with some of the key moments. Obviously, a huge one was your touchdown, go-ahead touchdown, ended up being the game winner. So double pass, Alex Frank gets it, pulls up and hits you wide open, no one near you, 52-yard touchdown. So when that play is called in the huddle, what's going through your mind?
I mean, so once we got the ball back, Coach came up to me and said, "We're doing the double pass," and out of anything that come out of his mouth, I did not think he was going to say that.
Do you have a special name for it?
Don't tell him if you do. Yeah.
Well, you can tell me. You're not going to shout it out to the defense.
Maybe off the camera.
Okay.
But usually in practice, though, Jake Houston runs that route, and but in my defense, he does ask me every single time, "Do you want to do it? Do you want to do it?" And I say, "No, you can do it." But in the game, I told him we're running the double pass, and then he said, "Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like for the first time, and I guess it worked out for us.
And there was no one, no one by you. So when the ball's in the air, do you feel that you're that wide open?
I mean, it really just feels like slow motion. I mean, I just make sure I keep my eye on that ball until it's in my hands, and then try to stay on my feet.
Yeah. Were you on the field?
I was going to say, were you in the game?
I was. Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, I know.
So you got to tell me, and you just don't say yes. You say, "Yeah, I made the key block to keep the defensive guy so that he could throw that pass."
What's your reaction? It's coming, and then just trying to carry out your assignment, but then seeing that unfold there.
Well, as soon as I see the ball in there, I just start running downfield, and it hits his hands, and I jumped at him in the end zone. I just remember that it was a hard hit, kind of.
And from there, the game wasn't over. I mean, there was still almost 7 minutes left in the game, and you guys had to come up with a bunch of stops. So just having that mentality, to come back, but know that the work wasn't over. I think they got the ball maybe 3 more times after that. So you guys, again, it wasn't like there was 30 seconds left or anything. So just, again, the defense and playing the way it did, just take me through that mentality late in the game, knowing that the stops had to be there to win.
I mean, we were all confident. We knew, obviously, we're going to be excited. We finally took the lead in the comeback. We knew it was on the defense now. We had the lead. There's no reason why we should lose the game anymore. coming from a defensive standpoint, and we just held strong and stuck together.
Okay, we got to start mentioning some of your teammates, okay? We got to mention those other guys on defense, okay?
D-line, we got Rob Kenyon at nose. We got Corey Shannon right over there at our 4-eye position.
You can't leave anybody out now.
Shout out Matt Cassidy and Anthony Tropiano, our very good middle linebackers, and our secondary. I love all of them. Anthony, Jake, Luke, all the
Nick Scaff.
Okay,
all you over there.
All the DBs.
Okay, who's the toughest guy on this team?
Toughest guy?
In the weight room and on the field?
Not Ryan.
It's a great teammate, right?
Maybe Tropiano. Maybe Tropiano.
Yeah, he is playing with a shoulder injury.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
tough.
this time of year, you got.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone's playing through something, right?
Definitely.
Okay, Ryan, you come off the field and things didn't go quite well. Who's the coach that you don't want to see on the sidelines?
Coach Dapp. Yeah.
It's gonna get after you.
Yeah, definitely.
So then you come off the field and you go opposite side of where he is, right?
I usually go to Coach Pop if something went wrong.
What else you got?
Lucas,
You know you got some good ones.
how about the guy that makes you laugh on this team? Who's the comedian?
Coach Pop right over there.
No, he's a coach.
In Miss Mixon's room before practice, before games.
What about on the
Just
field?
cracking jokes.
On the field? I practice. Coach Pop. I mean, everybody. Coach Stat.
No, but I mean the
Players.
the player.
Oh, the player that
Yeah.
makes me laugh. Corey Shannon right over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. A little quiet.
Definitely.
So always got the joke going.
Always
Huh?
got the jokes.
How about the guy at you got the pasta parties working right on Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the guy that eats the most at these parties? Who's that?
Probably Hunter Boylan.
Yeah.
That was quick.
Hunter's definitely.
That
up
was
there.
quick.
Yeah, definitely Hunter.
So you don't want to get behind Hunter, right? In line,
I try not to. He's an animal.
Who's the leader now? You've missed so many guys. AJ gone, Cassidy gone. Who's the leader of this team now?
Well, I think the entire team is all leaders. Everybody picks each other up. So. Especially the senior class, though. The senior class, everybody's together. The whole team is just kind of a brotherhood, and we all pick each other up. There's no someone's better than the other person. There's leaders everywhere.
Well, don't sell you two guys. Don't sell yourself short because that's why you're here tonight representing this team. For the outstanding season you've had. So I got a hunch that you two guys are big leaders.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And as seniors, also, you guys have been through the downs and now ups of this program. And you guys are important leaders to what this team has done and gotten to this point. So I'm interested to know, for a program that hasn't had traditional success, it's not baked into the program, these expectations that some other programs, that you guys obviously aspire to get to that level. So this kind of resilience that you've shown, it's, and when I say it's out of character, I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's not a team that hasn't done it before. You wonder, can they do it? Where does it come from? So for this group, where does that come from? That ability to fight through all this adversity that you guys have had and come out on the other end successful.
I think really it really started last year with Zach's class over there. It was just 3 years ago, my sophomore year, kind of the team wasn't as close as it was 2 years ago. And then we kind of just everyone, it was more of a family, and then things just started to click more,
Well, W's take care of that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Help a lot.
That certainly helps. So Friday night, you guys will travel to Toms River, take on Toms North. We know they're a great team and everything, number 2 in the shore and all that stuff. But just from a standpoint of you're a senior, it's a playoff game. You're going out there, obviously you want to win. It could be the last time you step on a football field as a high school player. What kind of mentality are you going to try to bring into Friday night, knowing that, what's on the line and the stakes and all that?
I mean, I'm just going to get there. When I step on the field right up before that kickoff, I'm going to take it all in. Probably a great crowd there, great opportunity, a great memory for me. And then I'm just going to give it all I got and leave everything I have on that field and hopefully play again the next week.
Sounds like a plan.
Yes, sir.
Well, guys, it's been great talking Marlboro football. This has been 2 years in a row we've had Marlboro on, and that's because you guys have put yourself into the conversation, around the shore with the way you guys have played, and it really is great to see. that was some of the most fun I've had covering a game on Saturday in a long time, and the way you guys won that was pretty special. So, again, congratulations on everything you've done so far. I know you have another game left, hopefully more after that, but we really thank you guys for coming down, taking some time, telling us about your program, and we wish you guys nothing but the best going forward.
Thank you.
All right. So we thank the Marlboro Mustangs, Ryan Mendez and Lucas McAvoy for joining us. So we'll take another break. We'll bring Kevin back, and we'll talk about the rest of the playoff games coming up in Week 10. You are watching the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network.
And it's the fourth quarter here on the Varsity Link Coaches Corner. We're live at MJ's in Neptune. Great place. They've done a terrific job. We can't thank them enough hosting us every other Wednesday night, and, of course, the Office Lounge as well. But we've really enjoyed being here, and we've got a great waitress, too. What was her name, Steve? You remember?
Amanda.
Amanda? Amanda's outstanding. She does a terrific job. She recommended the chicken sliders, and it was a top-notch effort. So, hey, both those guys were great. I enjoyed listening to them. They were fun, and you can just see the support from their families, and then the people from the Marlboro Mustang program. That is so nice to see. That's why we like doing this. I mean, we don't do a lot of X's and O's here, but when we have the kids on, we like to learn a little more about them, but those two guys really handled themselves well. They were a good listen.
Well, that table over there of 8 or 9 guys, all players, their teammates, they were intently listening to Lucas and Ryan. Then the food came. They haven't lifted their heads up yet from the plates.
Ed always gives you the other side of things.
I give you the other side.
Yeah.
That's what I watch. That's what I
Beyond
watch.
the box score.
Beyond the box score, Ed Sarluga.
I knew Jay's son was eating his French fries.
He knows
over
what
there.
everyone ordered.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? We're going to give
Ed.
We're going to give Ed the check tonight.
Yeah.
Please give Ed the check
that's
for
the
everyone.
prize.
Yeah. All right, so we kind of started the show saying that there were 13 teams still alive in the state football playoffs, and 12 of them playing this week. Or Red Bank Catholic doesn't start their round till the following week. And Toms River North and Marlboro, obviously, and we have Jackson has a tough one at Millville.
Well, let's start with because the non-publics are a week behind in a sense.
Yes, they are.
So their regular season ended last week, and then those two brackets, non-public A and B, are seeded by a committee. So in non-public A, we had Donovan Catholic receive the number 7 seed. They'll play at home against Hudson Catholic. The winner of that game plays Bergen Catholic.
Piece of cake.
Exactly. St. John Vianney, the number 9 seed, they'll travel all the way down to Richland to play St. Augustine. And the winner gets number 1 Don Bosco Prep. So you have 2 tough games and then 2 really tough games if you win that game. And then Red Bank Catholic, the number 1 seed in non-public B. Casey's are the defending champion. That bracket only has 8 teams, so they don't play till next week. So they will have played 1 game.
I got to ask you
weeks.
this, and you would know the answer and I don't. Why is there such a disparity between those 2 brackets? I mean, Group A is a grinder.
You have the big 4, big 5 are all large Catholic schools. So they're in A. RBC's, on enrollment. is in B, but Bosco, Bergen, St. Peter's, Bosco, and then St. Joe's Montvale.
Yeah.
And then you add on Seton Hall.
That's true. That's brutal.
If that's not the toughest state bracket in the country, it's clearly one of them.
Yeah.
Unlike the public schools where the groups change every year, it never seems like those parochials.
Only an enrollment, and it's only because you only have two
they're
brackets.
Pretty much the same. Every year they're pretty much the same.
All right, so let's just do this. Then we'll run down this quick.
Yes.
South Jersey Group 5. We know it's Toms River North and Marlboro Friday night.
And Marlboro, Marlboro looking to get to its first sectional final since '94, and North looking to get back after losing the final at Kingsway last season. And Kingsway, oh by the way, one of the semifinalists on the other side of that bracket.
Yeah, they played Cherokee. Those are two good teams as well. In South Group 4. We have Jackson traveling to a really good Millville team who blew out Lacey last week 49-6.
Doesn't that look, just looking at that bracket, if you crossed out the date and told me that was like 2002, Hamilton, Shawnee, Jackson, Millville, it looks like one of those old school South 4 brackets that were just, impossible to win. And then Jackson did it 2 years in a row going undefeated.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, a tough game for Jackson on the road against a high-flying Millville team.
In South Group 2, we have top-seeded Raritan hosting Pleasantville Friday night, and also Friday, Rumson will be home against Oakcrest.
And I probably should have checked this before I came, but I believe that's both. Raritan played Pleasantville in last year's semifinals, and so did, I think, Rumson and Oakcrest did. If that wasn't last year, it was the year before. In, I think, Group 3, though.
So there's some familiarity here.
Yes, I believe so. But, yeah, Raritan, those are two games that could be competitive but are certainly much more winnable for our shore conference teams. I would expect the Raritan-Rumson championship game there.
South Group 1, you have Shore Regional traveling to number 1 Woodbury on Friday, and Asbury Park hosting Mapleshade.
And that's a bracket where Woodbury is the top seed and clearly the favorite. They have been a juggernaut this season, and we've had a lot of those South Jersey Group 1 teams kind of going back and forth forever. It was Paulsboro. Salem the last handful of years has been dominant, and this year Woodbury. So Shore really up against it going on the road for a 10:30 a.m. game. So you got to drive all the way down there. Meanwhile, Asbury is just rolling. 54-21 over Pittman. I think the Bishops couldn't get to the final there, and then obviously would have a juggernaut waiting for them in Woodbury, most likely.
By the way, and our complete overuse of the word resilient.
Yeah.
Can't we use that with Asbury Park, the way their season started and what they had to deal with to get where they are?
Anytime your first game of the year you have to forfeit because you don't have enough eligible players, then they had another game canceled because of off-the-field stuff that not involving them. But the game with Keensborough they didn't play, so they were only 4-2 going into the playoffs. And then here they are. But we knew it was a really talented team that if things could kind of settle down, they'd be tough, and that's exactly what happened. Deshaun Carter, an all-shore player last year and having another fantastic season for the Bishops.
Central Jersey Group 4, we have Middletown South, the top seed, really on a roll. They have played great football.
That defense.
Oh, my goodness, the defense is tremendous. They're home against Winslow, coached by former Penn State running back Bill Belton.
And former Winslow, obviously great.
And I believe Christian Hackenberg He was the offensive
I know he was last
coordinator.
year. I don't know if he's still there.
Yeah, he might not be. But anyway.
Former teammates, those guys played together, obviously, at Penn State.
Middletown South at home against Winslow.
And Winslow beat Colts Neck last week to get to this guy.
Correct. And then you also have Long Branch, the Shockers of a week ago. Long Branch taking on Mainland, traveling to Mainland, a team that won 63-10 last week over Morristown.
Yeah, they dropped 7 TDs, and so did the next team you're going to talk about.
Yeah, Mainland looks like Middletown South's opponent if Middletown South can get by.
Yeah.
It's a good football team, Mainland.
Tough team.
Always a tough. That's a good program.
Yeah.
That's another one of those perennial programs.
Yep.
And in Central Jersey Group 2, you have top-seeded Point Borough, who only put 62 points up last week, at home Friday night against Willingboro, with the winner to get Gloucester or Haddonfield.
And that's an interesting game because Point Borough has shown a little – look, they're still undefeated. They're 9-0, but you go back to the regular season finale, you have to go to overtime to beat St. John Vianney. They scored 62 points, but they gave up 27. It was 41-27 at the half. They righted the ship defensively in the second half, but Point Borough not as dominant. We are splitting hairs here, but not as dominant. And that's a rematch. That was last year's championship game in South Jersey Group 2 when Point Borough put it on Willingboro, and then if they win there, most likely get a Haddonfield team that beat them in the regional championship game. So some good storylines there.
And don't overlook Willingboro. They put 52 points up last week.
Yes.
So they're a pretty good team.
Scored a whole bunch on New Providence.
Better get the lights available for the Borough scoreboard.
Yeah, that's right.
I said to the Athletic Director Chris Ferrone on Twitter, said, give that scoreboard operator a raise.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. They've put up a ton of points
New bulbs
this
they were putting in this week. I think I saw them up there.
year. And just a quick shout-out, because last week we had Pinelands on, and then they went out and won the Cats. It's a dramatic game. Now, that is the regional tournament in Group 3. Wall plays Carteret. Now, these games are tomorrow night, Thursday.
Thursday, yes.
Wall is the top seed with, 2 wins, right, for the season?
3.
Now,
two now.
Two
now. They
now.
have two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wall
2
with
and
2
6.
wins is the top seed. They will host Carteret, while in what is a rematch of a game earlier this year, a 1-point
That
game.
Barnegat won 7-6. You're right.
Pinelands travels to Barnegat Thursday night, and that should be epic. I mean, those are the 2 Southern Ocean County schools.
And I know it's different in terms of the games, the structure of the games you played, but if Pinelands wins that game, they tie the program's single-season wins record with 7, and they would have a chance to even eclipse that. So, I mean, the Wildcats, what they've done this year, again, considering their past history, has really been excellent. And they're not a totally senior-laden team either, where it's like, oh, the whole class graduates, and now can they do it again? They bring back a lot of kids. So another coach in there, John Tierney, and his staff doing a great job.
And let's just give a shout-out to these teams that are still playing. In the Group 4 regional tournament, Red Bank will visit Steinert. That is a Saturday game, by the way, Saturday at 1 p.m., while Brick Memorial, the Mustangs, who come off a win last week over Toms of East, Brick Memorial will travel to Northern Burlington, who ironically ousted Brick last week.
And their Brick Memorial's quarterback, Connor Deeds, continued to set records. As of now, he has set their single-season passing yards record, their single-season rushing touchdowns record, their single-season points record, and their career points record. And by the way, he's only a junior, so he's had an outstanding season putting up numbers. So he's gonna give Burlington, Northern Burlington's defense a lot to handle.
And the last team, guys, that's in a bracket is Howell. In the Group 5 Regional Invitational, Howell will visit top seed South Brunswick tomorrow night.
Yep.
And
Billy Hill continues to send us his updated stats. Very nice of him.
That's all I asked.
Yep, that's all you asked.
That's all I asked.
But so, again, we have a lot of teams playing meaningful football. And, somebody kind of lectured me about a week or 2 ago when I sort of dismissed the other games as not meaningful. And, yes, they are meaningful to anyone associated with the program. I'm thinking more from a media standpoint of what it means. But you've probably seen it, and I know Ed has. Ed's on Facebook. A lot of coaches whose seasons ended last week have put up this. It was a written thing by someone else.
About the last game?
About the last game, especially for seniors, and it showed like a coach hugging a player. Good. And, football, we were talking about this with the injured Marlboro, A.J. Schwartz. We were talking with Jason about this. Football is such a short season in terms of games you get to play. 9, 10, maybe 11. That's it. Less than half of what basketball plays if you go in the tournament, what a baseball team will play, the soccer teams. You only get 10, maybe 10 chances a year. So, they all mean so much to the kids, especially the seniors. So, to those that are still playing, regardless of it's a playoff game or it's a consolation game you picked up, we wish you all the best and stay healthy, man. You hate to see kids get hurt late in the year, especially if they're winter athletes and it impacts their next season.
Very true.
One of the objectives of the state when they went to this format was to end the season earlier so these kids that do play those winter sports would have 2 and in some cases 3 weeks off to rest time and get ready for the
practice starts. Because it used to be sometimes it would go to the point where they forget practice, they're missing the games at the start of the season. So from that standpoint, it's good. It is a little weird when some of your some of these teams' season ended before
Halloween. Halloween.
And some are going to play into early December.
Yep.
It's striking, but that's the nature of our new system, and it's not going anywhere. So.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Well, we had a great time tonight talking Marlboro football. We appreciate the support from their fans, their families. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yeah. Nice group of people. We thank head coach Jason Delgado and two of his outstanding seniors, Ryan Mendez and Lucas McAvoy. We had a lot of fun with them tonight. We'll be back next Wednesday at the Office Lounge in Toms River. We don't know what we do ever until after the weekend. Then we start setting up the show. But special thanks, of course, to Steve Meyer, our main man here, and Tom Tremblay, who somehow makes it work every week. I have no idea because I have no clue. And we appreciate the people here at MJ's, our servers and staff here, for hosting us and allowing us to do this. For Bob Batters and Ed Sarluca, I'm Kevin Williams. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. You have been watching the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network.